Ever heard of a man so blameless and upright, he was considered a paragon of virtue? That man was Job, from the land of Uz. This man, Job, was a beacon of righteousness in a world often clouded by moral ambiguity. Not only was he blameless, but he also lived his life in an upright manner, setting an example for all around him. His reverence for God was unparalleled. His fear was not out of dread, but out of respect and love for the divine. He believed in living a life in harmony with God's laws, shunning all forms of evil. His life was a testament to his unwavering faith. Job was not just spiritually prosperous, but his life was also filled with material blessings. He was blessed with a loving family and substantial wealth. His life was the epitome of prosperity and righteousness. But little did Job know, his life was about to take a drastic turn. Job, the virtuous man, found himself in the middle of a celestial wager. A conversation of cosmic proportions was unfolding, one that would test Job's faith to its very core. Up in the heavens, God and Satan were engaged in a celestial dialogue. God, in his divine wisdom, was boasting of Job's unwavering faith and righteousness. He spoke of a man who was blameless and upright, a man who feared God and shunned evil. "Have you considered my servant Job?" God asked Satan. "There is none like him on the earth." But Satan, the adversary, was skeptical. "Does Job fear God for nothing?" he retorted, challenging the very foundation of Job's faith. According to Satan, Job's piety was a mere byproduct of his blessings. He argued that Job was faithful not out of genuine reverence, but because he was shielded from adversity. "You have blessed the work of his hands, and his possessions have increased in the land," Satan pointed out. "But stretch out your hand and touch all that he has, and he will surely curse you to your face." And so, the stage was set for a divine experiment. God, confident in Job's unwavering faith, gave Satan permission to test him. He allowed Satan to take away everything Job had, but with one condition: Satan must spare Job's life. In the face of overwhelming loss, Job stood at the crossroads of faith and despair. Amidst the ashes of his once prosperous life, he found himself grappling with questions of divine justice and human suffering. The first to offer counsel was Job's wife. She was a woman who had shared in his prosperity and now shared in his pain. She saw his anguish, his physical torment, and it broke her heart. In her despair, she urged Job to curse God and die. Yet Job refused. He rebuked her, maintaining his integrity, and reminding her that we must accept both good and bad from God's hand. Next came Job's friends, 3 men who had known him in better days. They sat with Job in his suffering, and they spoke. Their words were a cocktail of sympathy, judgment, and theological debate. They questioned Job, insinuating his suffering was a result of some hidden sin, some failing on his part. But Job, steadfast in his righteousness, refuted their claims. Job's struggle was not just with his circumstances, but with his understanding of God. He found himself wrestling with the notion of divine justice. How could a just God allow such suffering? How could a loving God stand by as he, a blameless man, was stripped of everything? It was a profound struggle, one that saw Job questioning, lamenting, even accusing God. Yet, through it all, he refused to curse God, to renounce his faith. Job's story is not one of blind faith, but of a faith that questions, that wrestles, that seeks understanding amidst suffering. It's a faith that holds on to God, even when God seems silent, distant, even cruel. It's a faith that stands firm, even as the world crumbles around it. Despite his suffering, Job held on to his faith, but the greatest test was yet to come. And so, we journey with Job into the heart of his story, into the heart of human suffering and divine mystery. Just when Job had almost lost hope, a whirlwind arrived, bearing the voice of God. In the midst of his despair, Job's heart trembled as he heard the divine voice echoing through the tempest. The voice was not of reprimand, but of a grand lesson, a proclamation of divine wisdom and power that surpassed all human understanding. God spoke not to justify his actions, but to reveal his inexplicable wisdom. He asked Job, "Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth, when the morning stars sang together and all the sons of God shouted for joy?" The question was not a mockery of Job's ignorance, but a gentle reminder of God's omnipotence. It was a testament that the divine plan is beyond human comprehension, and that man's wisdom is but a drop in the ocean of God's knowledge. Job listened, his heart pounding with reverence and awe. His spirit was humbled before the overwhelming might and wisdom of God. He fell to his knees, acknowledging his insignificance in the grand scheme of the universe. With a humble heart, Job admitted, "I know that you can do everything, and that no purpose of yours can be withheld from you." In this moment of humility and surrender, Job's ordeal took a turn. God, in his infinite mercy and grace, restored Job's fortunes. He blessed the latter days of Job more than his beginning. God gave Job twice as much as he had before, double the livestock, double the prosperity. Job was blessed with 10 more children, a mirror reflection of what he had lost. His latter days were filled with joy, peace, and abundant blessings. Through his trials, Job never cursed God. Instead, he remained steadfast, his faith unwavering even in the face of unbearable suffering. This story of Job is not just a tale of suffering and restoration, but a timeless lesson in endurance, humility, and unwavering trust in divine wisdom. In his unwavering faith and humility, Job passed his test, serving as a timeless lesson in endurance and trust in divine wisdom.